Manchester United have beaten Wolves 4-1 and are up to 6th in the Premier League. This was a must-win game. This was we have to win this game. And this was we should and I expect us to win this game. And we won 4-1. I did a live stream earlier today and I said, look, we need to win by like a 3-goal margin. This is one of the worst teams the Premier League has ever seen, if not actually technically maybe the worst team the Premier League's ever seen, because they're on track to break the record for the worst ever Premier League side. We need to win today, and we won today. And we won today, and we played some good football in the second half. We got a lot of goals, and that's all we can ask for. It's not one of those games where I can be like, we're back. We're going to get UCL football. We're equal on points with Chelsea in 5th. We're 6th in the league. We're 2 points off. We're 1 point off 4th. We're back. We're back. It's not one of those games where I can say we're back. It's a league where actually so many people are dropping points that if we can actually get some consistency, we can get Champions League football. But there's questions over the managers, there's questions over the players, there's questions over the mentality. But it was a game that we won, and I'm glad we won. Now, some people are being like negative, saying, well, Wolves is exactly the type of side that Ruben Amorim played in Portugal every week, and that's why we beat Wolves, and that's why we beat Southampton and Leicester under Amorim, because they're the kind of sides he plays in Portugal, which probably the same level as the Portuguese sides, don't get me wrong. But you have to praise Amorim when we win 4-1. I'm not Amorim's biggest fan, but actually, when it was 1-1 at half-time, I did tweet, if we lose today or drop points today, I actually think it's more on the players than Amorim. I've been very critical of Amorim, but our players were very wasteful. Very wasteful. At half-time, I was like, this is atrocious. If we don't win, Amorim needs to be sacked. But then I was also like, but this will be on the players. Cunha, I felt like Cunha felt sorry for his old team, was like, I can't score against them. I feel sorry. Cunha could have scored too. Like, the negatives today was missed chances, Shea Lacey not coming on, him having to sub on 2 centre-backs again. They were the negatives today, other than, and the fact that we let Wolves score their first goal in about 9 hours of football. But other than that, it was really positive. Like, there was some really good football in the second half. The first half was a bit, But we came out in the second half, and if we can play like we did in the second half today, more this season, I think a lot more people will be on board with Amorim than that. But there's not many Premier League teams that are going to give us the space that Wolves gave us. I mean, Wolves gave us a tremendous amount of space. Like, I'm very happy with the result. I'm very happy with the win, don't get me wrong. But the amount of space and time Wolves gave us was nuts. They are so bad. They are so bad. It reminded me of the Europa League games. You know when we were really bad in the Premier League? But in the Europa League, we'd come against teams that maybe weren't as physical, that couldn't cover as much ground because they're in a different league. Wolves already felt like that. That's how Wolves felt like. It felt like a Europa League game. And look, in Europa League, we scored a lot of goals. It felt like a Europa League game today. But anyway, look, all of the front three getting a goal contribution. I think Cunha was wasteful. I like Cunha, but I think he tries too hard. I think he was so desperate to get that goal that he's almost shooting too much. But he got the assist. And Mbeumo's movement was really good. I thought he started really badly, and I thought he did a very good second half. His movement was good. And I thought Mount was arguably man of the match. I thought Mason Mount was fantastic today. It was between him and Bruno for man of the match. Bruno obviously was probably more involved in the goals, but I thought Mason Mount's all-round play was probably better than Bruno's off the ball. But I thought the attack did well. I thought Mason Mount was absolutely outstanding and man of the match. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Bruno. I want to talk about Aiden Heaven. I want to talk about Mazraoui. But we need to talk about Mason Mount. I'm so happy for Mason Mount because he's had it so tough with those injuries. He's had it so tough with those injuries. He's been out for so long. He's missed over 50 games for United, and him and Bruno were standouts today. Absolutely standouts. Mount said after the game, I've had setbacks, but now I'm building on these performances. Getting in amongst the bowls, that's the most important thing for an attacking player. It's a system I've played before. I know the pockets and space in this formation. I'm used to it. I know when to play deep and when to get in behind. Thoroughly enjoyed tonight. We need to keep improving, said by Mason Mount. Mount on his goal. As soon as I see Bruno with the ball, that's my trigger to run behind. We all know the caliber of player he is. And he was just saying he knows his role, he knows what to do. And you can tell that. Mason Mount is very good in the left hand. He knows what to do on and off the ball. He knows where to be. There is games where Mason Mount is a ghost. There is games where Mason Mount is invisible. But there's also games where Mason Mount is arguably one of the most and best important players on the pitch. He knows when to make those runs. He can score goals. He's getting those goals. He's got 3 goals in his last 4 starts at the Manchester United. He stayed fit for a bit of time. And we're starting to see the Mason Mount that we expected when we signed him. We've been waiting so long to see this Mason Mount, but we are seeing the Mason Mount that we wanted to see 2 years ago. And he was saying, as soon as Bruno gets the ball, that's my trigger to make that run. We know what he does. And look, what Bruno does there's not many players that do that. A lot of people were saying in the summer we should sell Bruno, we should get Florian Wirtz, or we should sell Bruno and get Xavi Simons. I think when Bruno leaves, people will actually go, wow, okay, he was good. He is played out of position. He is a liability in that deeper role at times, and he does not suit Amorim's system, don't get me wrong. But if you don't look at Bruno and think that is a world-class player, I'm shocked. I just think he's a world-class player playing in a role that maybe doesn't suit him. But what he can do is not many players can do. We talk about everyone wanting Xavi Simons and Florian Wirtz to replace Bruno, but look at them in the Prem compared to Bruno. People don't realise how good Bruno is. But Mason Mount was fantastic. He had a lot of time, but he was taking very neat, composed, pinpoint touches. His improvement this season has been seen. I think with Mason Mount as well, it's not just that he's improved this season, but he's got a run of games to build fitness and build confidence. And actually, I think if you don't play for so long, then you play again, you're going to be rusty as well. But as James Maddison said, Bruno is very underrated. He puts it on a plate for Mason Mount, and we're going to give credit to Bruno. But Mason Mount brought really good intensity. Why I think Mason Mount might pick man of the match for me is just how in the intensity he was playing at, the pressing he was playing at. He was finding the pockets of space so well. And when he was carrying the ball, he was so sharp. He was so sharp with his punches. He was carrying the ball and he just looked fit. And look, I hope he continues that. But that's 3 goals in his last 4 starts after missing more than 50 games for injury since he's arrived. And he was fantastic. I mean, Bruno was involved in everything. I think Bruno, you can argue, is man of the match. But 4 defensive contributions, 7 passes into the final third, 45 touches, 96% pass accuracy, 3 fouls won, 3 shots, 1 goal. I honestly thought that Mason Mount was outstanding. And look at this pass map. It was, I think with Mason Mount, he showed a bit of technical ability today in terms of his passing being a lot more pinpoint. Now look, this is Wolves. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be shouting we're back, we're amazing because we're 6th and we beat Wolves 4-1, one of the worst side the Premier League has ever seen. And look, will Mason Mount do this against Bournemouth? I don't know. Wolves gave us so much space. There's no beating around the bush. Wolves are shocking. Wolves are awful. Wolves are the worst Premier League side I've seen. Wolves are atrocious. And, I mean, they bossed our midfield for the first half an hour and then we physically were all over them. I think once they went 2-1 down, they gave up. Wolves are honestly the worst team I've seen. But you can only judge what's in front of you, and the players showed up and the players performed. And I don't think the players showed up in the first half. I actually thought Ruben Amorim had done his job in the first half and the players didn't show up. I didn't like Ruben Amorim's subs, but we won 4-1. He didn't do anything wrong. I just think it would have been nice to send Lacey. Do you have to bring on? I get bringing Leach on because he needs minutes. Maybe Yoro for confidence. Aiden Heaven did well. But yeah, we've got to talk about Bruno. 102 goals and 92 assists in 306 appearances. That is nuts, especially now he's playing deeper. He's got 200 goal contributions in 300 games. Bruno was phenomenal. Let me get his game numbers up. And then I'll talk about Dalot. I've given Dalot a lot of slander, but 3 games in a row, Dalot has been good. 90 minutes, 2 goals, 1 assist, 4 big chances created, 5 key passes, 7 ball recoveries, 3 out of 5 ground duels won, 55 out of 66 passes completed. There was times in the first half where Bruno was frustrating me. It was more discipline-wise, positional-wise. But Bruno Fernandes was phenomenal particularly in that second half. And the thing is, Wolves played into it. Wolves gave us space and Wolves allowed us to transition. This Man United team, it might be crap when we have to dominate the ball, but if you give this Man United team space in behind and let us play direct attacks, we are very good at that. We are very good at direct attacks. And the games we've played well under Amorim, we've been able to do that in. And look, Bruno was phenomenal. Bruno was everywhere. Bruno was dictating play. But Diogo Dalot, I slandered Dalot, and look, Dalot deserved criticism 2 weeks ago. I said he's been poor. Dalot's had 3 really good games in a row for United. It's not just that he's getting assists, but his passing was better. His technical ability is better. And with Dalot, I've always said this. He's a good fullback. He's not a good wingback. I've always felt like this. I've always said Dalot is a good player, but he's not a good wingback. And I don't think he's a good wingback, even though he's had 3 good games. And he has been very good at wingback the last 3 games. But Dalot has good technical qualities and good physical qualities. And has very good qualities, attributes and traits. But he's sometimes an idiot. Do you know what I mean? Today he won 5 out of 6 aerials. 5 clearances, 4 chances created. He was so much better on the ball. Of course, look, it's Wolves. Wolves are bad. We're playing a team that is already a championship level team. But I thought Delo had 3 good games in a row. I thought Maynard was very good when he came on. I think he completed 13 out of 13 passes and 1 more fouls, and he kept the ball. The difference is Agate comes on, makes tackles, can't keep the ball. Maynard comes on, can keep the ball, and we saw that. But yeah, like some people are saying, look, we won because Wolves are the quality of team that Amorim would face in Portugal every week. It's not Amorim's tactics. Amorim's tactics are only good against bad sides. There is elements of that concern. There is elements of saying this is like the Europa League. They just don't have the physicality. Bournemouth are going to punish us. And look, we can only judge the game that we saw, and we won. And let's be positive. I know some fans wanted us to lose for Amorim to be sacked, but I would rather be wrong about Amorim and Man United go on a brilliant run of form and finish 4th this season than Amorim gets sacked just so I can say I was right about Amorim. I want us to build some form. Bournemouth are one of the worst form teams in the Premier League. This is a chance for back-to-back wins. This is a chance to get up the league. This is a really good chance to sneak a Champions League place this season. Let's go do it. Thank you for watching. Bye.